Greetings, everybody. It's Stacy Sobel with Salon Today Conversations, and today we have a really special episode. I'm here with John Harms, the founder of Millennium, and he is bringing two of his longtime loyal customers, and I'll let you kick it off, John, and talk about what we're going to dig into today.
Hey, Stacy, thanks. Excited. Stephen and Patrick have both been clients for a long time. They were on our Millennium product. They transitioned to our Meevo product. But I think more importantly, I'm excited about the things they're going to talk about. These are like real life things with real life owners talking about marketing and marketing that's worked, maybe even some things that didn't work. Or in Stephen's case, he'll talk a little bit about the KPIs that they track and how they do that and the importance of them and how he actually engages his team members with that. So I'm excited about it because it's really not about the clicks and everything inside of our software. It's really about, even if somebody's not using our software, how these real life owners take the numbers and the information and or the platform and build their business. So I'm excited.
And then you guys are both a little bit different. Stephen, you do coaching for strategies. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how those metrics and data, and we love data because we do data driven, but how that's so important. And then Patrick, we're going to talk to you about having a multi-location with a call center and how that's morphed over the years and changed. So we've done a little pre-chatting before, but talked about how you have different needs from your software. And I guess, John, you see that with probably every customer. Everybody has different unique needs.
Yeah, my problem, and Stephen and Patrick will laugh at this because I'm on our community site every day answering questions, and I still am crazy enough to think that I can meet all of those needs for everybody. And yeah, it's 34 years in this, and I thought it would take 6 months to a year to create a platform. And 35 years, coming up on 35 years later, I think every day we're trying to keep up and catch up. So I'm excited to have them on, and they're definitely both real good examples of people that we listen to that I think they will tell you legitimately we've added things to the software based on exact things that they've said. Hey, no, we need this. So
we need
this, you got two really good guests on here.
Well, I want to start that off, Stephen and Patrick, because you both had some amazing things to say about Meevo. And a lot of it was about the people behind the software as much as it was the technology itself. And how, Patrick, you said that it's really like you feel like they're their own tech partner within your salon. Why is that so important? And how do they support you? And you talked about the forum, or whatever you call it. What is that? And how do people support each other on it?
Yeah, I think that to link back to your question, 18 years ago, I thought I knew everything about business and technology until I met John Harms and Andy Clark and Bob McConey. And I think for us, in a high volume environment supporting 3 high volume salons, having a CIO and a technology group, because as a small company, I can't go out and hire people to do all the things that the Meevo support team does for our team. And so the first thing I would say is we were looking for a trusted partner, not just for technology, but for business as well. And that's what the Meevo team brings to the table. So when we were ready to migrate to Meevo 3 years ago, we were confident that we had a whole technology group, our own IT department, working closely with us as a trusted partner to, make the big leap from Millennium to Meevo 2. And I'll keep repeating the word trust. You have to trust the people you're working with. And my wife and I trusted John and his team at Meevo wholeheartedly when we met with him 3 years ago and said, our company's in a critical situation. We're opening 3 salons over a 12 to 18 month time period, and the days of the old servers are blowing up on us, and very expensive and very hard. I knew strategically it was going to be hard to support the old IT world with all of the servers in the future. So we took a hard look at where we were, and we had a lot of faith in the Meevo support team to help us make that transition. So the key word is trust. You have to trust the people that you're working with, and not just from the technology perspective, because there's a lot of great, smart people, a lot smarter than me out there, that knock on my door every day trying to sell me some kind of a application or an IT solution. And what I would say the business part is as equally important as the technology. So that's, is the framework that we came from when we started working again with John and his team to make that migration.
Yeah, it's funny, if I could just comment on that real quick. Sorry, Stacy. The mission and vision that I wrote over 34 years ago, it hangs on or it's actually painted on our wall here. It's never changed one time in 34 years. And in there, it says we have to be a trustworthy resource to our customers. And so that means a lot to me. And I think that's part of any good relationship is based on trust. So appreciate that. But it comes with a lot of hard work. And you know what, sometimes we trip or stumble. And, there's been a couple of things along the way where we had to change or make better for the way Patrick needed it. And but he trusted we would, and we did. So I think trust is important, and because there are a lot of different software companies out there, and not all of them are really rooted in the beauty industry. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that was something that both Stephen and Patrick talked about, that you're rooted in the beauty industry, and you serve just beauty. And why is that important, do you think?
Well, like I said, I've been at it for 34 years and I can't keep up. So if I start going off in 20 other industries, I don't think I could be who I am to this industry. And if I'm completely honest, I love this industry. I think it's a fun industry. It's an industry that needs what I can bring. I understand that they're more right brain than left brain. So they need visualization. They need you to kind of hand them that data on a silver platter and not make them dig too much. So I feel comfortable in the industry. I love the industry. And I think that's the main thing. I really do believe we bring value to the industry.
Well, I really like to add, the fact is that, vision, values, and culture, when you really think about those things, the vision or the shared vision that, of course, John has in the software, we think about the vision in our businesses, allows us to dig into the values that we have. And, you said, both of you guys said trust. And again, that the vision brings in the values of the business. John, you even said, said trust is a big part of the vision that you had.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about the shared values we have, of course, in the culture that we have here in our community of like-minded people that are in the Meevo, the business community that we have. And, it was funny because, trust is on our business. Respect, loyalty, trust, happiness, and hard work are our values here. So when we think about the culture that we have, it comes from those shared values, and so, when you trust somebody what they're doing and then you trust the community. So when we go back to that community site and we go back to the, specifically the Meevo Facebook community, you trust the people there. And you're trusting the fact that they're going through the same challenges that you're going through. Maybe you're a step ahead of the challenges that they're coming up on. So you're able to give a little bit of your insight, and you're not afraid to do that because you're in a place of trust. And so I think that was a really good one, Patrick, that you brought up, is because, the community side is a place that you can trust to go to get information if in fact that you're having challenges. It's the people helping people, if you will.
Yeah. And the other thing I believe strongly in that goes with that trust is transparency. So one of the things that Patrick and Stephen would tell you is I've never deleted a post. And they're not all, hey, John.
They're rough sometimes.
They're not all love notes.
Yeah, those are
They're
ones
not all
from me,
love notes.
John. Those come from me.
Well, we send them privately. But no, I mean, I think it's important, and I answer every community site post that I can. I'd say within reason, I think I answer probably 80% of them. And if I'm not the first one, I still kind of at least like it so that people know that I read their question or their concern. And but I think that's important, transparency. It's not always perfect, right? So when things go wrong, it's like, hey, what happened here? Well, you know what? I think that could be an issue. Let's look into it. And then we follow up. So I love the community side. It really represents who I am as a person and who we are as a community. And I think people that use our software are really the kind of upper echelon business thinkers. So I think there really becomes a camaraderie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, humility and transparency. If you can't say that John Harms and the Millennium, the MSI doesn't have that, go back to Meevo 1. I mean, for a guy to go through what this company has gone through, the transitions of, hey, let's try new technology, and for technology to move so fast, they had to get new technology. I mean, give me, look it up. There's plenty of places to look on and on the the path that Meevo 2 has come from. So, I mean, kudos to that. I mean, if that doesn't say trust, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Well, and I think trust and character comes down to what you do when things aren't going right, as opposed to how you behave when things are going amazingly
Adversity.
well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the proof of that is to get a call from John Harms on the morning of a holiday. I can remember something blew up on us, and I did not email John directly. I may have copied him on something, and I got a phone call in the morning of a holiday, and I'm thinking, why is John Harms calling me? And I know why. It's because of the values and the culture and the transparency, and that's why our team really melded well with the Meevo team. In fact, we worked with one of John's employees. His name is Mike Delvecchio, and our team lovingly called him Meevo Mike. And throughout the whole project of converting, our team was saying, Meevo Mike, hey, Meevo Mike, help us solve this. And Mike Delvecchio, turned around everything fast. And I know where he learned that. He learned that from the leaders of the company. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I would love to do an interview without mentioning the pandemic, but I'm going to go there. It's just for you all that own salons, the last 18 months you've had to pivot more than any time in history. But let's not talk about what happened then. Let's talk about what's happening in the future. What are your specific needs now, and how is technology addressing that?
Yeah, let me pipe in. I think our needs now continue to be what they were a year ago when all this was, we were overwhelmed. And again, because we had a trusted business partner in Meevo and the Meevo team, we've been able to implement some processes that are helping us even now. I'll give you a specific example. We integrated to WorldPay a couple of years ago, not knowing that there was going to be a pandemic. But it turned out to be a godsend to us to be able to have fully integrated POS, and we had gone cashless in our salons about a year before the pandemic. Well, not looking back, but looking forward, we'll never go back to that world handling cash. And with the self-pay capability, the prepay capability at your POS, and the full integration with WorldPay and Meevo 2, we're going to continue to look for those transactional areas of our business that keep our customers safe and keep our people safe. And I think the world that we're in now, people now have accepted the fact that we're in this new remote world. And so I think continuation of that is going to be really important. But I want to make another comment that relates to the COVID world that we're in now. It goes back to the word trust. If we didn't have a close relationship with our technology business provider, I'm not too sure we could have made it through the challenging months of being closed and also reopening. So all those things are COVID related, and I think COVID is with us for, I don't know how much longer, maybe a couple more years we're gonna be fighting this battle. And so having a partner in the battle with us really helps us a lot.
Yeah, we cleared our roadmap in March of last year and said, we've got you called a pivot, Stacy. It was at least a pivot. It was a complete turn almost. And we had to release self-pay, nothing more cleanly than paying for your services right like this. And you don't even have to go to the front desk. And we released some new stuff with our docs and forms for COVID release forms. We added the ability to do a per ticket charge to help with some of the fees with that people wanted to charge for, people used to do it for green fees and things like that too, but also for being able to add on a $3 or $5 charge that some people were doing early on for the fact that they had to do a 15-minute cleanup in between each client. So there's a lot of stuff that we did. But again, that's listening to our clients. I mean, the truth is we really work for our clients and they know what they want and need.
Yeah, and it goes back to the communication piece. I mean, we're partnership with Textel. We're able to text right through Meevo and be able to have that ease of communication, text from the car, hey, I'm here, or whatnot, whatever that may be. It was just so simple and seamless to do. Our first location that was still running Millennium, we did the conversion the day that we were coming back should work. We did the next day. We did the conversion, and the first day we opened, we were using Meevo, and there wasn't any anxiety about it. I had our team, our guest service team and manager, take all the video courses. And I don't, if you guys aren't familiar out there, watching this interview, the training they give you in the little short videos is so simple. You just go to the Millennium Academy, you go through the process, you have a little quiz even, and you go through, and you can watch it as many times as you want. And it just made it so much easier. So that day one that we came back, they were using it. And what was great about it is that there was a lot of familiarity of the two platforms. So it was really smooth transition from one to the other. Data and everything else was very smooth transfer. Of course, you're learning something new. So you got to learn something new. I mean, that's just part of it. Garbage in, garbage out. That's how it is. And who put the garbage in there initially? Me. We did. The crap that you have in there from 10 years ago is still in there. Well, probably could have cleaned that up prior, but we had already been running our newest location. We started on Meevo, so we already had an understanding of what was going on. There was no conversion, so I had a data entry everything, and I think that maybe a part of the process is that, yeah, you have to put your stuff in there. It's not magic. Yes, if depending on what product line, yes, Meevo has the ability to upload some things in there, but at the end of the day, this is ours. It's customizable to you specific. So yeah, it's not just necessarily a plug and play and then you're just ready to start it up. I mean, there's programs out there, but they're not going to give you what you've got in this program. That's a fact.
Yeah, I'd like to also add on to a couple things that Steve said and bridge to something that's really important in our world. In our high volume, we operate a central office reservation center. And during COVID, and I see the future, that group is going to expand. In fact, there's some of our most knowledgeable Meevo users are in our central support group. And this really enabled us to respond quickly to a lot of the COVID challenges that we had. When a team of designers had to go out on quarantine, it was our reservation center that quickly contacted all of the people using all of the channels that we used through Textel, through phone, and also through Emma communications through email. All of those tools come together in our central reservation center, and using Meevo and the appointment book, the robustness of the appointment books for our salons, we can move really fast now when we do have to quarantine a few people, and we have to respond very quickly to consumers, because consumers expect quick response. And if you're not delivering the goods, they're going to go down the street somewhere else. So one of the advantages that we have, and our guests recognize it now, and so does our team, is the value of our central support group and how important that is, even more important today with COVID than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, the call center booking allows him to get a call from a client, look them up. It knows where they normally go, knows their history, and they can actually book in any of his 3 locations from one central place, but have access to all their data as if there was only one location. So
seamless.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and Pat, you had talked about, people used to call those call centers, and now you have a new name for it because that's just a portion of what they're doing.
Yeah, the first call center in our company was me.
I hear you. I've been there,
Sitting
Pat.
at a desk answering the phone, not a cell phone. And today, of course, I could never do that. But our people are well-trained people, and they're multitask people. They're very comfortable with software. Using all of the channels that we use, not just calls. In fact, our call volume actually has been declining over the last couple of years, and our texting we track it every week. We get a report I get a call center report every week that tracks the number of calls that we get per day, per hour of the day, the number of texts that come in, and the texting is just going crazy. So having Textel, having the tools in our call center that Meevo 2 provides really gives us a competitive advantage over our competitors out there, because I know in our market, I don't know of another salon organization that has like the sophisticated reservation center.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer a call center.
Yeah.
It's a knowledge center support group that supports not only the people in the salons, but also the consumers out there. I'd say 90% of our booking for appointments comes through our knowledge group. As much as we work really hard to pre-book people, in the salon, most of the people, when they check out, they already have future appointments. So
You got it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I think it comes back to that booking traffic report. And I know I was kind of geeked out on the Millennium one, the booking traffic. You could look up, when your busiest times were, that volume came through checkout, what that looked like. And you could either do it by checkout, or you could have done it by booking. So they had the two different ones through volume of revenue or versus the call volume. And so Meevo actually has a report, the AQ030, I believe it is, the booking traffic. So you can see, and I'm sure Patrick can tell you that you want to make sure that you're efficient with your scheduling, meaning of people in the call center. When are the high volumes? When are the lower volumes? And if I utilize that report to a full extent, I could really specifically hone in on, do I need 3, 4, or 5 people, or do I just need 2 during those times?
Yep. It helps with scheduling. There's no
Yeah.
question about that.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you all how you thought the new generations, like Y and Z, they really are immersed in this digital world in a way that our generation isn't. Like I was on vacation recently with my son, who was in Mexico booking girls on Tinder to go on a date with. And I was like a little alarmed. But how is that changing how your consumers interact with the salon? And your technology has to be in place to be able to do that. What did they want out of a digital relationship with you?
I think ease of use. Patrick, you could probably, say they want it simple. They don't, just as we want our software to be just part of what we do and not any roadblock. We just want it smooth. We just want it as part of our nature, that as we go and as we think, we want the software to kind of go along with that process. I think our customers want the same thing. They want ease of use, ease of texting back or reconfirming an appointment or whatever that may be, online book. They want it simple. They want it simple, but it's super sophisticated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and even the 5-star reviews we do, like pretty much anything customer facing, we put extra work in to make it easy. Because one thing I've learned, and I tell my development staff this every time, I said, you want to get our clients really upset their client. Online booking's causing a problem, and they're calling Patrick and Steven. They're 10 times more upset than if they don't understand a report.
Right.
Like, my clients are pissed and calling me about technology. Now I'm calling John because
You got it.
This is not my problem.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
even the 5-star review, the way they first designed it, I vetoed it. I go, no, one click. I go in, I touch it, and there's pictures of stars, and I click it. It's a 5-star, it's a 4-star. Don't make them dig deep. You've got 30 seconds, 10 seconds of that client's attention. Let's see how they felt about that service today. So,
and as a consumer, if it's too complicated, I just give up and stop. And I imagine that's what you see people do.
And Meevo is so detailed, they get down to 15 decimal points, places. They're just so detailed. Is that right, John? I had to throw that one in.
Steven's busting my chops because he found a report where we forgot to truncate the decimals to 2 decimals. So it went on for like 10. It looked like pi.
It was 15. It was 15. Yeah, 15 decimal places.
Talk about data driven, Stacy. We are down to the 1 millionth decimal point.
Seriously, it was great.
We love that. Well, let's talk. Now we're talking a little bit about metrics. Steven, as a strategies coach, what are the most important metrics you coach your salon owner clients to follow? And you have to have technology deliver those, right? You can't calculate them.
You have to have technology to deliver that. And there's so many different ways to really count. There's a lot of different ways that you can counter how other companies do it. May not be exactly what you're looking for. And it's very frustrating to, like, for instance, pre-booking, rebooking, I mean, that could get crazy. Client retention, if, look, there's specific ways that you want certain things counted. Meevo allows that to happen. For us, we're looking for pre-booking. We're looking for retention, both new and existing. We're looking for a retail component, whether it's unit sales or retail to total sales, or if we're looking for percentage clients purchasing. I mean, I like that one specifically. It's really behavior based, because at the end of the day, the numbers are only the after of something that happens. So when we coach back to, I'm utilizing the numbers as an opportunity for us to coach on the behavior. What behavior drives the number? So as a strategies coach, we dive into those behaviors. Again, if a doctor came to me and just gave me my critical numbers of that and walked out of the room and said, get better. Okay, my blood pressure is high. What do I do? I don't know what to do. So I really, as a coach, we look at those numbers and say, what can I do to make them, either go higher or lower, if that's the case may be.
Yeah, and what they do is in Meevo, it's basically dashboards, but we call them a smart center. What's cool about that is Stephen, Patrick, what works for Stephen may not work for Patrick or vice versa. And so you create what you want your service providers to see, what you want your management to see, what you want you as the owner to see. And so you have these dashboards that automatically come up, and that includes when the stylist goes on their phone, the first thing that comes up are their KPIs, because I said, why should we have a software with a pretty logo in the background? The first thing that comes up should be what matters to me. What are those things? And so what's cool is most people that use Meevo, you can walk up to a service provider and say, what's your average ticket? And they know it because they're seeing it every day throughout the day.
Right. Yeah, I would agree 100%. I mean, again, it's depending on the levels of what you need to know. So, service staff needs to know a level of information, management needs to know, and owners need to know. So, if I need big picture, I've got that available on my Smart Center, but I also have availability. I can see a Smart Center manager level if I need to see, style. So it's fully customizable to what you want to see in what John explained as the Smart Center, or the tiles, if you will, the live tiles, if you will.
Well, and being in the industry as long as I have, and to your credit, John, I've always heard that Millennium's the company that has all the reports. There's a report for everything.
Yeah,
and so I guess doing the dashboard simplifies it, right?
Yeah, we had over 450 reports in Millennium. Meevo has over 200 already, but you're right. I think the key is these dashboards and these smart centers where, a stylist isn't going to go dig into 400 reports, but they'll look at 10 tiles that tell them in a snapshot where they're at. Patrick, I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
Well, no, the point I was going to add on to what Stephen said, because I agreed with the metrics part of it. And also I wanted to be very clear that one of the great advantages of the Smart Center tiles of reporting in Meevo is the ability to break it out by job group, because your managers will have different metrics that they're looking at than hairstylists. But the other old IT phrase I use once in a while is called real time. I think the beauty of the Smart Center tiles is it's more real time than a hard copy report where you're getting history. And I think our younger designers in particular, they want to know what's going on right now. And that's the beauty of the Smart Tile. You can create it to be as real time as possible. And so they're seeing what's going on right now, today, yesterday, and not what happened 3 months ago. And I think that's important too.
Well, I'll even add one more to that, is that, we're tracking future. So, if we're able to track future things, which we do, part of our process is that we look at what are our future, what are our sales for this month, or future sales of this month, next month, and even the month after that. So we're looking 90 day, 30, 60, 90 days out, based on pre-booking, and I think if people were to understand pre-booking a little bit more of the power of what that means, a pre-booked appointment is money in the future. And if I do my work today, my future, my tomorrow will be much better and easier to work. And if they really understood that and actually game plan that, or included that in their huddle every day, that they would understand and see of how that works. Frequency of visit leads back to pre-booking, all of those things. I want to have a frequency of visit of, maybe 5, 6, or 7 visits a year. You can go back to that. It comes back to pre-booking. Do I understand what 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks brings us? as far as visits per year. You know, everything matters, and those KPI, the numbers that we get, you know, the key performance indicators. If we don't have that, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah, and the key performance indicators are really showing you what tomorrow's revenue is going to be. So what Stephen's talking about, we have estimated sales in there that'll actually show you this week, next week, you know, and there's a tile for that too, not only a report, but a tile that you can see, hey, right now our goal for next week is, I'm making it up, $10,000. It's a lot more for these big shots, but $10,000. You know, right now we're at 6,000. So, hey, we're 4,000 short and it's Friday. So let's really start working on next week. The other thing that I think it's important to have this predictability stuff that we did with estimate sales. But the other thing Stephen mentioned was retention. And so I love to try to invent and come up with things that have never been in the industry. And one of the things we came up with was new client retention for 6 visits. We're the only software that has that. So yeah, you're at 35% by the 2nd visit, but by the 6th visit, you're at about 10%. And it explains why, you know, we're not bursting at the seams. Well, with Meevo 2, I said, well, what's something else that would really help? My problem with retention is really what Stephen just said. Retention in the industry is, well, if I'm in September almost, right, I'm looking at my retention for April. How did we do in April? Did they come back by now? Because we're almost in September.
Lagging number.
I can't fix April, right, Stephen?
Right.
So what we did is created the industry's first new client, retention projection report. So what we're doing is utilizing the appointment book, existing transactions, to let you know what September is looking like for retention right now, what October is looking like. So guess what? You can fix it today.
Right.
What happens? And to me, that's where I get
100%.
excited. And by talking to people like Stephen and Patrick, and you know, hearing how they can coach around that, that's what drives me. And if I can fix tomorrow's revenue today and not look at April, that's the answer.
Right. It's that new client pre-book. And again, everything goes back, and Patrick can go back to this pre-book idea. You know, people just leave everything up to a chance, you know, online and everything else. You got to have the conversation with customers every day. And if we can utilize that and get that through a thing, the online, we're going to fill in the blanks. We'll fill in the spaces. Right. You know, don't just rely on the one thing, you know, looking ahead and having the ability to change today for what tomorrow's going to happen, instead of using past, you know, man, it's been rough trying to, you know, over the course of time, like, how do I fix 3 months ago when that lagging number takes that long to get? And having a report such as this now, or this capability of, you know, and you don't have to hand count it, because before that's what you had to do. It's like, okay, new customer come in, did they pre-book? New client pre-book? Yes. Okay, that's it. You know, it's not 100% that they're going to show up, but now with the reporting we have now, actually gives you excellent reporting on that.
It gets back to something one of your customers, Robert Cromian's, talked about at our first Data Driven, and it's that the behavior of the stylist, they're kind of dating the client in those first couple of visits, and then it gets to be, you know, the old relationship, and you don't open the door for them anymore, and you don't bring the flowers anymore, and but you don't ask them if they want to change their hair anymore. You just say, we're going to do the same thing. So I think that report really gets to what he was talking about. That's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, anytime we can give data, some artificial intelligence or some kind of business intelligence to our customers, that they can do something today to fix September's retention, that stuff, like I said, that's where I get really excited. Or the combo bar, I think that came up in the pre-talk, you know, just inventing some things for the industry that didn't exist before. We got that patented. So that allows an appointment to be booked in 30 seconds instead of 3 minutes. So as the client is talking, you capture the words of what they're saying. I'd like a haircut with Patrick or Stephen next weekend. By the time they're done talking, you hit those main nouns and verbs. The appointment book renders, and the thing's glowing up top. If you click on it, it'll actually show every opening for Patrick and Stephen, and only show Patrick and Stephen, and only for Saturday and Sunday of next week. So all that stuff that you'd be bouncing around in the appointment book, scanning around, it takes a little bit of effort to learn, and Stephen knows that. I've been busting some chops on one of our customers on the community site, because he keeps saying, I don't use it. I'm like, have you looked at the help? Have you watched the videos? No.
Right. But I do have to say that the Convo bar, the more you get and understand it, as John said, it'll make your life so much easier. And I think, again, I do believe more opportunity for classes around that, more higher level classes and training around that, I think is definitely something that we all could, could utilize and use. I know for a fact, look, you only just scratch the surface when you're really into the program. I mean, until an issue comes up is when you start digging into, like, can this solve my problem? Oh my God, it's right there. I mean, I'll go even further to the inventory. I mean, people aren't using the capability. Even in Millennium, they weren't using the automatic purchase orders and the things that had. I mean, that even had a wizard that would tell you, a slow moving wizard. Like, I mean, the detail that the company has at its fingertips for us to utilize is amazing. But again, you got to learn the program in order for the program to work. It just isn't gonna, automatically do everything for you. That's just not what this is.
Yeah, I would add on to Steve, what you just said on the inventory side, having the automated purchase order to our product vendor when Meevo rolled that out was a huge improvement for us because it saved our managers so much time in generating the orders every week to our product manufacturer. So, and that relates to a comment I hope I made earlier, but I want to repeat it again. The reason why we trust the Meevo team, because they pick good partners for us. I don't have to go out and seek out all these companies to help us solve these things, because I know that the Meevo team is always looking at partners like ADP, partners like QuickBook, partners like WorldPay. I don't have to go out and really kick the tires all the time looking for those things. So inventory is a good example. I was very happy when it was fully integrated with our product manufacturer.
Yeah, and we're able to leverage our relationship with these people too, and get you better rates, or like, for instance, Emma, our marketing tool.
My payments went down. My payments went down.
Yeah,
actually.
I know, and I put that out there, but I'm sure nobody believed me.
No.
But we negotiated with Emma, and we so that we could give it to every single client, and it came down to about 1/10 of the retail price. So we just incorporated it into Meevo now, and it's part of the base platform. But if somebody tried to go out to Emma on their own, they'd probably pay about $100 to $150 a month, and that's actually what Meevo costs.
Right.
So, depending on the size, I mean, but in that range. So, anytime, and I always like choice. So we've got Textel, but we also have Salon Cloud. We've got ADP, and we've got QuickBooks. We've got WorldPay, and we've got Card Connect. Like, to me, I don't want anybody to think I'm putting my eggs in one basket. I want to give you choice, and sometimes we're the third choice. We're coming out with our own consumer app, but there's already one from Salon Cloud that's great. But so we want to kind of come out with our own that's got a couple different features, and people can make a choice. So I think that's important, and you're right, Patrick, that I take it very seriously, and we have a pretty detailed vetting process. We don't just let anybody come into our Meevo exchange where people can use the tools. So and we have some new ones coming soon. We're integrating with Vish on the color stuff. A lot of people want to do. Salon Scale wants to integrate to us. Again, choice. So so I think that's important, that you trust the software vendor that you're using to kind of do that hard work for you, and whenever possible to give you choice, so that it's not just one and done. Hey, this one or this one, whichever one you like. And I also like that it keeps those partners competitive on price, on quality.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that means a lot to a salon owner. You're like the good housekeeping seal for us, that you're out there looking at these things, and we know that you're doing your homework because of the knowledgeable team that you have behind us.
I go back to the gift cards. Vanguard, you've been using them since probably you started, and everyone asks, like, who do you use for gift? They're simple, they're easy, they're great customer service. They're, I don't know what more people want. I mean, it's just so simple. Patrick, would you agree? It's like, come on, what do you guys want?
I have a story to tell you. Just yesterday, I got back from a long trip from Montana, driving all over Montana. I get back, meet with my vice president of marketing. First thing she tells me is, hey, we've rolled out a new logo for our company. Oh, I had to buy new gift cards. I really love that Vanguard, and they're a part of Meevo, and they do such a fantastic job. The last time we ordered gift cards, it took us like 6 months to get them. They're turning them around in like a week or two, and so I'm sitting there, whoa, this is cool.
I actually found them in the dental industry in the 90s and said, hey, come over here to the dark side in the beauty industry. And we blew them up, and they've been very successful, and they're good people. So
Yep.
yeah,
Very
and they
good.
get our industry too. So that's important. You know, you're not just going out to some gift card plastic company that doesn't understand what the barcodes or how they need to function. Like you call and say Meevo, they're like, okay, no problem. It has to be this format, and
Yep.
they're
Simple.
knowledgeable.
Simple.
Yeah.
Couldn't be simpler.
Since we talk gift cards, I just have to share one quick bright moment during COVID for our company. As every salon, over across the country was really struggling, we needed some good news. It's like when you're on a losing football team and you need to get a win, just to lift everyone's spirits. And Valentine's Day earlier this year, we weren't quite all the way out of COVID. We still aren't, but I think people were getting kind of discouraged with all the protocols, and the vaccinations hadn't all come through yet. And we decided to do a Valentine's promo with e-gift. Using Emma, we sent out an email promoting e-gifts, and within the first 24 hours, we sold over $70,000. And when those numbers rolled
That's a win.
That's a huge win.
It isn't the dollars that counted. It was the big boost to our team, like, whoa, this is cool. Our guests really do like us. Even when we're not fully up and open, we're partially open, they still love us. And that was more of the feedback of love, to our brand and our people than it was the dollars. And that to me was really an amazing thing.
We saw a lot of that, instead of like the GoFundMe thing, oh, go support our business, support our business this way. I mean, this is the things that we're, the things that we already have built in. You want to support us like that, So that's Patrick, that's a great story. Thank you.
That is
Excellent.
awesome. Yeah, and
Well,
again, even when you're talking e-gift, we're mobile first, so we build it to work on a phone first, and then it'll also work on a desktop. But our first focus is 70% of those e-gifts are going to be bought from a phone. So making sure that flow works and that it's easy. So awesome. That's a great story, Patrick.
I think I want to wrap this up by both your customers told me that you're really good at staying ahead of the curve for them on what technology needs. So what are you working, without getting too proprietary, what are you working on now?
Well, I miss some of the
Gamification, man. Get the gamification going, buddy. Come on.
Gamification was in Meevo 1, and it was my pet project, and I became certified on it.
I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah, and I loved it too, and we'll get it in there. But the key things we're working on right now is one of the things I feel is missing, that not missing, we have some of it, but we had a lot more of it in Millennium, is some more data visualization stuff. So dashboards that show this year versus last year, show me the last 52 weeks so I can look for trends graphically. So we are working on dashboards, improved dashboards that are coming out. We're coming out with payment plans, especially for some of the higher end services and or like wigs and hair restoration, and even some of the Botox stuff and everything else. You can have memberships, which Meevo does very well, but sometimes they just want a payment plan. And so we are releasing payment plans soon. And we have a couple things up our sleeve around the data-driven stuff that I'll keep a little quiet, but I'll hint a little bit that I think it's important as a cloud company, and that has over 400 million rows of data, that somehow we take that data and use it for good. So, wouldn't it be great for Patrick to know how he's doing for salons of his size and demographic, as far as like maybe in his area, the average income is $80,000 a year, but maybe average income in my salon is only $45,000 a year. So my expectation on average ticket, my expectation on pricing, my expectation on revenue that I can do is going to be different than Patrick. So I am really excited, and it'll come over time, but it'll probably come sometime next year, is where we're going to start taking some of this data and really exciting our clients by using it in an anonymous way, because you have to use it anonymously. I'm not going to look at what Patrick's doing and what Steven's doing.
Right.
I'm going to take generic data and put it against demographics and things, and start sharing some of that data so that they can kind of get a good feel something they could never do on their own, quite
No.
frankly, without going and knocking on each salon. And
Right.
but it's not even just in the radius around you. It's the similar demographic. A similar demographic might be in San Francisco, might be in, you know, it wouldn't be New York City if I'm in, you know, in a small town in Ohio, but a small
Right.
town in New Jersey might match that town in Ohio on income and things. So the more data we can let you see and use, I think it's just going to make that intelligence and decision making for Patrick and Stephen to be better. So I'm excited about that. There's some details around it. I've given you some of it, but we're very excited about being able to take it to that next level. And I'm speaking at Data Driven. Stacy, looking forward to that in a few weeks. And it's all data is the new gold standard. We all know that.
Yeah, we'll be there. Me and Michael Yost will be at Data Driven September 12th and 13th, I believe, Sunday, Monday. Strategies will be there, and I can't wait to see you guys. Right in
I'll be
Rosemont.
there.
That's driving distance from my house. That's Rosemont, Chicago. So that's going to be great.
Awesome. I'll see you, Stephen. I'll see you there.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, thank you all so much. This has been a really phenomenal conversation today. So appreciate it and love hearing you guys also just
Thanks, Stacy.
kibitz with each other. It's just great to see the conversation flowing.
Yeah,
So.
pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you. I think we're
appreciate
all
the
passionate
invite.
about the same thing. So, and that's just really about the industry and helping businesses grow, because at the end of the day, I want to see the stylists grow, and if the stylists is growing, then the salon's growing. So I think it's really great how far the industry's come from when they didn't care about the data at all to almost, you know, flipping to the point of like wanting tons of data or flipping to the point where they're using mobile all the time
And we built a conference around it.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Stacy and Patrick and Stephen.
Thank you, everyone.
Great time.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Take care.